You see the drippy, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the giddy up. Secure the bag, yeah, I get the bus.
Wagwan, what's happening? Name is Sokaya, Sox for those who really know me. I'm a videographer, I am a part-time musician, I'm a gymnast, I am a weed smoker, I'm an enthusiast, all those things, and you are watching Unsolicited. So did I always know I was gonna be a creative? I think so. I think I always kind of knew there was something different about me. I used to be a kid and I used to like have this weird thing that I've actually never said out loud. This is the first time I'm saying this in words and I hope someone understands this. I used to take my mom's chains or whatever, but like long chains or something long, like hair ties. And I used to break the hair ties up till they long, not circular. And I'd take these things and I'd do this with them, right? And I'd flip them around. And in my mind, when I was doing that, dude, I'd make up like stories. But I used to have to go hide to do this because I knew there was something weird about it. You know, it was like, it's weird, bruh. But yeah, so I think I always knew I didn't know that was being creative, but I knew that there was something I was hiding that I was like really good at. Because my stories were the bomb, but only I knew them, so yeah. It was all like a fluke. I studied multimedia and then I dropped out because that was more website design and like that, and it was a lot of Photoshop. I learned Photoshop from studying that, and then like Illustrator, and I couldn't draw, so it was a very like draw heavy subject, so I dropped out. But I learned Photoshop, and what I'd learned in Photoshop, I learned that like I could manipulate pictures, you know, I could like take something in the dark and do this or whatever. So I started liking Photoshop. I studied at some College of Digital Photography in Rosebank. It was like a 6-month course, and I had learned Photoshop, studied the photography thing, and I was really good at that shit, bruh. Like I could take pictures, and because of the Photoshop knowledge, I understood like a shadow, you can do this, or you know, with certain colors I can change colors and not affect the person's skin tones. And I'd learned all that then, and then it applied there, but it was more photography based. And this was just before Instagram boomed, right? And I used to bunk all my video classes. In my mind, I was never gonna be a videographer. In my mind, to answer the question, I was never gonna be a videographer. But I did that, and I graduated off that school. We had like exhibitions. You had to print like a couple of our works that we had done within the course of the year. And my exhibition was crazy, dude. Like a magazine printed my shit, like 2-3 newspapers printed my shit. Like my pictures were really fucking good. Like my lecturer was like, yo dude, you're next level at. So I did that. I was a photographer for a while. Like Instagram came out, and by that point I was armed with some knowledge, so I used to shoot for my friends or whatever, and like I was really good. Like I was surprisingly, because of all the that I learned. And then I got a job with this one dude. You know, I sent him all my pictures. I was very confident at the time, so I sent him all my pictures. I was like, yo, this is what I can do. I knew I was ahead of like my peers. Worked with this guy, bruh. He didn't have much pictures for me to like do. Like I think the first day I worked there, I just organized his like files, and then the next time I worked, he kind of sat me down and he taught me Premiere. Like he wrote down all the shortcuts. He was like, V is for select, this is for that, and he gave me old footage and he was like, edit this, and I edited that, and I learned storytelling, bruh, and that was like next level. I did that for him for about 3 to 4 months. He would shoot stuff and I would just edit the stuff, and I got really good at it, like really, because I used to listen to a lot of music, and I learned that, oh, it's actually about music more than it's about the picture. So I did that for about 4 months, and then this one time he had a shoot, but he couldn't make it, so he called me and he sent me there. I turned the camera the first time to video mode, and like literally the rest is history, bro. I've been shooting and editing my since then. Am I a relationship girl for the streets? Hey man, whatever you into, but me personally, I just like, I'm by myself, so I'd say for the streets, but I'm not like for the streets in the sense of like, I'm out here f***ing everyone in the streets. I'm just for the streets in the fact that like, I don't want to be in a Western relationship, in like, you know, monogamy type situations. So if that's what's for the streets, then I'm for the streets. People think because I look the way I look, I am a certain way. Like people will expect me to speak a certain way or act a certain way. And I don't drink, I don't do drugs, I don't devil worship, guys. I know I look fucking weird, but so yeah, that's mostly like I get a lot of misunderstandings, bruh. Probably because of the way I look, but I understand it. It's been like my whole life, so yeah. There's been a lot. There's gigs that I've worked on that have been cool because I've met cool people. There's been gigs that like I've met people that I'll never forget in my life. And there's just been great gigs of I've experienced cool stuff. But one that stands out, South African tourism. And we're shooting these Vietnamese and people from like Eastern like weird, like there was a Vietnamese lady, there was a dude from India. It was just a group of a lot of people, but we went to Cape Town with these people. And that was the best trip, probably because I experienced Cape Town like through their eyes. And that was one of the trips that stand out. It was like Cape Town and I think Pretoria. But yeah, I never thought Pretoria was that cool. Shout out to Pretoria, man. Hey, what's the worst gig I've ever experienced? Yo, there's so many. And they were paying gigs, so it's even, I'll never do that to them because they paid me. But there's been a lot, dude. There's been gigs where I met people. There's been gigs where I didn't eat. So, you know, I'm a big nigga, bruh. If you don't feed me, I will put you off, bruh. You know, so there's been a few, but yeah, nothing that deep, you know. Luckily, like, you know, if you keep it professional, you can always kind of fix before it's out of hand. But yeah, there's been some weird experiences, man. Romantically, what's my type? Someone that doesn't need me. Someone that doesn't need me. That's my type. If you don't need me, yo, and if I feel like you don't need me, yo, I need you. But if you need me, that's not my type. So I've had a go-to pickup line since I was in high school. It's never really worked, but like I'm gonna keep using it till it works. So my nickname is Sox, no? Sox with an X. So my line used to always be, do your socks keep you warm at night? Typical day for me is wake up like really early, like I'm up at like 5:30, 6 latest. I have like ginger, raw ginger, I call it ginger o'clock. Shout out to a homie of mine from the UK, Starboy, taught me that. That's where my superpowers come from. So it'll be wake up, have raw ginger, chew that like an apple, bruh. Don't stop chewing. Have like 2 liters of water and then hit either the park, cycle to the park, or go to the gym. Do a workout at the park if I'm there. Go home, eat, get some work done, or my inspiration is music, so like look for music to start all that crap, and then yeah, that's a typical day, bruh, and then repeat, you know. Most trippy moment, it's probably the last time I tripped. I took acid. I used to sell acid, and I never used to get high on my own supply. But there was this one specific day with an old friend, and I took the shit that I was selling, and it knocked me off my axes for like a month or 2. And that was the last time I tripped. Like, what was trippy about it was everything, man. Like, everything was misbehaving, everything was doing what it wasn't supposed to do, and it didn't stop. It didn't stop doing it for 2 months. So yeah, that was probably my trippiest experience, was taking acid. Does weed help my creative process? I think when I was younger, I would have probably like jumped to say yes. But now I know when to use weed. It doesn't always help with my creative process. Like sometimes I need to not smoke to do stuff, like, and the reward will be more satisfying if I didn't smoke. But other times when I'm like feeling a bit like all over the place, the weed does help kind of simplify my emotions and like, you know, all the external feelings that I'm feeling. So yeah, man, there's a balance. Like weed is amazing, but also too much of anything, you know, can be a problem. You just have to find a balance of like when to use and when not to use. My brain activates on music, right? I'm a sonic person, so most of my inspirations come from like musicians. Like I'll listen to their music, and based on what they're saying or the strings they're playing, I'll see. But visual artists, was a photographer. He's the reason I'm in this game. Like I'm still to meet him one day. I've spoken to him, but Roger Ballin, he done like the Unvoid videos and like that. He's from New York, but he's got documentary called The Outliers or The Outlanders or something. But that was me in college. I submitted that for all the colleges. Roger Ballin is my inspiration visually. I have been cheated on. She told me she cheated on me. I stuck around, you know what I'm saying? Like I was a very open-minded kid. But I have been cheated on, and it sucks, dog. Yo, that shit's lame. Have I ever cheated? I've always been honest. So I've done some up, but I've always told the person that I done that too. You know, I've always tried to make sure that they found out that from me, you know? Yeah, so I live my life on, I've been honest. Most toxic relationship is my last relationship. The reason why I don't do relationships anymore. That shit was, I probably need to get over it because that shit happened like 6 years ago now. But I got a cool scar from it, you know? So that shit was pretty toxic, bro. Like, it ended in me punching a window and being in hospital for like 6 months. So yeah, I've had some like fucked up relationship experiences. But like, I love that shorty, man. She knows it's all love. It was just me. I was just young and confused. It's very interesting. There's a lot of things that keep me motivated to keep going, but it's the things that I'm still learning. I think that's what keeps me motivated and still going. Like I said, I play music and I do all this other shit. So the thing that keeps me going is like unlocking new skills or understanding, hearing a new whatever pattern, or you know, things that kind of have nothing to do with my work. I don't get paid for them. I don't make money off them. It's things that fill my soul. So that keeps me going, because in my mind, when I'm old and 60 and aliens have taken over, you know, I'll always be able to like pick up a guitar and play or do a hand, like, you know, I'll never be, yeah, so that's what keeps me going, because I know I'll always have that. Yo, I always had nappy hair. I know when I was a kid, one time I used to do like, I'm a SKL, and this one time my homie relaxed my, because I always had an afro at the top, and he relaxed my and combed my shit out, and I had that like young whatever the fuck that shit is, and I dyed my hair brown this one time. But for a very long time, before my hair was locked, before I locked my dreads, I've always had like dreads. In a sense, like I always had an afro, then it would do some weird, and then I'd cut it, then it would happen again. So yeah, as far as I can remember, I think I grew my hair because my dad used to always cut that when I was a kid, man, and I used to hate it. So when he could stop telling me, I'd stop cutting my hair. Yo, my piercing journey. My piercing journey is wild. So I have friends, 2 friends, good friends of mine, my niggas. I love those 2. Shout out to Dave and Tiplo, Black and White Ink. But yeah, it was a very, very long time ago, over 10 years ago. I was very young. I shouldn't have been at the clubs. I used to be a DJ. I used to play house music. I used to be really good, bruh. I used to play like Wednesdays at Latinova, when it was still called Latinova. And we used to go to Liquid Chefs and then walk to Latinova. So one of these days where I think it was a Wednesday, I was going to go play. And I was walking with my mates, whatever, and there was a new shop that had opened just before the club, and it was like a tattoo shop. They didn't even fucking have branding. I think they had wrote it down on a piece of paper. And it was these 2 guys that were there. This walked in there. This one white guy was drawing like a skull. Turned out to be a cool guy. He tattooed me that night. That same skull that he was drawing, because I thought it was cool, was this skull. My piercing experience came from, I worked at that store eventually. I spent a lot of time with them. They were my friends. So, you know, I'd have ideas for a piercing, things that we'd never seen before. I've had piercings in crazy places. I've had piercings on my throat. I had piercings on my face. I've got a piercing, I think it's here. I've had piercings on I had microdermals. I got like fucking piercing double thingies. So it was always just sitting there, and what haven't I seen before? And then I pierced it. I got a bridge or whatever. I stretched my septum. I stretched that. It was, I think, 4 millimeters, and then I got tired of people looking at me funny. So I went back, tongue pierced, all that shit, man. It was just, yeah, I had time and I had cool friends, bro. It's a very like cool time to answer this question, because I think my journey is changing now. So the previous story, how I met my tattoo friends, those weren't my first tattoos. Those were my first professional tattoos. Ooh, I'll tell you an even better story. I won't tell you my tattoo journey. I'll tell you about my first tattoo, because that's like the coolest story I probably have. I had a friend. I was in high school. I think I was in grade 9. My best friend at the time could draw. His name was Jean-Michel. He could draw a lot, right? And I grew up with this guy. And then I had another friend who wasn't at our school. She didn't actually go to school. She was like love of our life, bro. Her mom was a very interesting lady. You know, she used to work at the night. She used to be a dancer. We call them dancers. And this was the first time I'd met people like that, bro. Like, you know, this mom where we smoke in front of her, we speak, we say whatever in front of this woman. I used to bunk school and go to their house because, you know, this friend that I knew, she never went to school, so we'd go hang out there and hang out with the mom. But my first tattoo was, we found out that this mom, the lady that danced at the night, she was a tattoo artist as well. Like she had a machine. And this one day, my first tattoo was drawn in class, second last period, end of day. I showed John, my friend, like this Kenji symbol. It was a Japanese symbol. It meant soul, right? I showed him this thing and he drew it on a piece of paper. He drew it it, and we walked off to school, and I got that thing tattooed on me right there. But then the funniest part of the story is, fast forward to 10 years later, bruh. Cool, I've gotten many tattoos by then, whatever. And then I got into the accident where I punched the window and I hurt myself, right? And then I needed to get skin graft. So the skin graft, they took from the place where I got my tattoo. So what happened was they literally cut my tattoo down the middle. And now if you check, there's like half of it is here and the other half was on my arm. So yeah, that's my tattoo experience. Stretching my ears was f***ing wild, bro. Stretching my ears was... I saw it in a dream one day, to be honest, bro. I'm not even Zulu, so I offend a lot of Zulu tribes. Sometimes I'm Zulu. If an angry taxi driver is asking, I'll just... My mom is Zulu, so... But yeah, I was a kid. I saw it in a dream one day, bro. And then I was in college, the college that I dropped out of. And this chick, I think I was bunking a class or whatever. Sitting smoking hubbly, and this chick walked past, dude. And she had like small stretches at the time, but it was the first time, you know. And I saw that I went and I stretched my ears from there, bro. And this has been like 7 years. I'm on 40 mils now, 40 millimeters. So, you know, you go small by small by small by small. So now it's cool because now I've found a guy, like, because the bigger you get, it's hard to find jewelry. How it works is if you stretch to 10 mils, you can always go down. So a lot of people will stretch to 10 mils because they can wear the nice jewelry, you can see the hole. And if they ever decide to take it off, it will go back down. But I'm on 40 mils, so I've literally passed that years ago. It became hard to find then jewelry that would fit because not a lot of people go to those sizes. So now I found a guy who makes the stuff. Shout out to my nigga Plugs and Woods. Very interesting, weird guy who makes jewelry out of wood. And he makes the stuff for me. So I do plan on going bigger, but now I'm not rushing because I'm buying all this cool jewelry and I want to be able to wear it. So if I go bigger, you know, and I don't know anyone who's as big that I can pass my stuff down to. So that's my tunnel journey. Unsolicited advice that I think videographers and creatives should have is to understand that life is long, bruh, and like respect the journey. You know what I'm saying? Like respect the journey, dude. Everyone was struggling. I struggled. Your favorite struggled. Respect the journey that you're in. Put your head down. Understand it's a process, and like that shit will work. That shit will work. Like if you want that shit to work, that shit will work, dog. But like don't get discouraged when it doesn't work. Don't get discouraged if people don't fucks with it. Don't get discouraged if people think you're the craziest, or like, nah, that's ridiculous. That's a terrible name, or nah, that's a logo. Don't get discouraged, bro. Like it will work, you know, as long as if you want it to work and you keep doing it and you understand that it's a process. Nothing happens overnight. It has to get bad before it gets good. So keep that in the back of your mind, dude, and like live life, dude. Like it will happen. Alright, cool. So yeah, that's pretty much like my life. Yeah, that's me, Sokai Mbigo, or Sox, if you really know me. You can follow me on like social stuff, like Instagram. I think I'm Sokai Mbigo. Check out like my Behance as well. I put a lot of shit on my Behance and my Vimeo. There's like videos that I have on my Vimeo that I don't put on other places. So on Vimeo, on Behance, it's also my name, Sokaya. Yeah, dude, and like keep watching this cool ass show, Unsolicited, you know, and aware.
Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. You see the drippy, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the giddy up. Secure the bag, yeah, I get the bus. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. You see the drippy, I'm fitted.